Alright, so we finished sculpting our object, and I exported out of ZBrush with the OBJ format, and I'm going to import that here into Maya. So I'm going to take this base mesh for ZBrush that I don't really need anymore, and I'm just going to go ahead and hide it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Import, and I'm going to import an OBJ. I'll just go with best guess, and let me reset these settings and stuff. Let me go to import here, and I'm going to go to my data folder, and right in here inside of this data folder is where I put my sample panel from ZBrush. So I'm going to import that in. It's a pretty heavy, dense mesh. It's got a lot of triangles, so it may take a moment to import this in. Alright, so it took a few seconds to import this in. If I select this object right now, you can see it's extremely dense. The wireframe is so dense it looks like I put some kind of a flat green shader on this object. Okay, if we look at the triangle count, this object right now is almost 6 million triangles. That's pretty dense, but it's got a lot of detail, and that's a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I already have a low-res object that I'm going to be able to use for this. So let me go to the outliner window. And I have the low-res object right here, so I'll select it and I'll unhide it. Make sure it's placed with the high-res object pretty good, which I think it is. You can see how right now everything's just going really, really slow. To speed up things a little bit, let me go to shading, turn on backface culling. That'll help a little bit, though it's not really helping too much. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's go to the lighting shading window, open up the transfer maps window. The source meshes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the high res mesh, and I'm going to go to add selected. Okay, so the low res is already loaded up, so we're good. And just to improve the performance of my viewport over here, I'm going to hide the high res. That's pretty much it. Now I'm going to check my settings. Normal map is good. I'm going to change the name of this just so we can see the difference here. I'm going to call this ZBrush normal map. JPEG is fine. I got all my old settings here, so we're pretty much good. We don't have to mess around with too many of these settings at the moment. Let me go to the output here. I'm going to go with 1K. I'm going to reduce this to a preview for the sampling quality just because I want this to render out fast for the tutorial illustration purposes. When you do your own normal maps though, you might want to go higher than preview just to get a better quality map. Everything else is good to go. So that's it. All I'm going to do is let me save before I actually do this, and let's go to bake. Now when you do a bake, it is going to take a while, so just keep that in mind. It's going to take a good while to bake this out. The high-res mesh is pretty high-res, so let's just give it a moment. I'm going to skip ahead in the video and come back when this finishes. So it took about a good minute to get that done. What I'm going to do now is let me get this window out of the way. Let me switch over to Viewport 2.0, and there it is. Our beautiful normal map at 1K. Preview quality, of course, like I said, on your own time you want to increase the preview quality. You can see as I move the light around in this scene, we could clearly see all of the detail from the ZBrush model, all those scratches and the noise and just all that surface deformation is beautifully copied over onto our low-res object. So, right, so that's pretty much all there is to it in terms of workflow between Maya, ZBrush, and back to Maya. Essentially, it's just creating a base mesh in Maya real quick, and then going into ZBrush, sculpting it, bringing it back, and normal mapping it. Keep in mind, however, that there's a lot of different workflows out there. Some artists create their base meshes right inside of ZBrush, sculpt right inside of ZBrush, and normal map right inside of ZBrush, and then bring all that stuff to Maya. So it's a lot of jumping around back and forth. Different artists have different workflows. The workflow I showed you here is a pretty good workflow, very streamlined, very simple. Anyone can do it. It's very easy to understand. And that's pretty much it. The toughest part is just putting in all the work into creating great sculpts inside of ZBrush. If you can do great sculpting inside of ZBrush, then the sky's the limit. You can do pretty much any type of game art that you can possibly imagine. Okay, So that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to end this one here, and after this we're going to start to get deeper into ZBrush and work a little bit more on some more advanced project samples.